Okay, so you identify the creators, you identify the organized crime, it's time to track them, to know what they are doing, what they are up to. Okay, there are different ways to do it. The goal, as I said, is to anticipate new attacks and identify new variants proactively. Okay, how you can do that? We talk about passive DNS. They can switch to a new domain or pointing a domain to a new IP address, and by querying the passive DNS database, you can know those changes. Okay, and right away you can see, okay, now it is pointing to a new domain, or the same domain is pointing to a new IP address. Internet port scan, that's a risky but very interesting approach. So basically, if you know that the C2 is listening into a specific port or different ports, you can go and scan internet and find those C2's infrastructure. I'm going to give you some examples. Lookups. So you have the features, you have the behavior, you can create Jara rules or Snort rules to try and hunt them, to go to VirusTotal or to go to your own database in your company with hundreds of thousands of samples and try to search for those features to see if you can find more. You can put even a VirusTotal service, you can put a Jara rule saying when you match this specific string or this specific API or this specific sequence of bytes, send me an email. Okay? Imp hash, SSDIP hash, very important here also. As you remember, import hash and SSDIP properties, they can also define similarity between samples, and then you can use it to track and find more samples. OSINT, open source intelligence. With that information, you can now go and check the IP of the C2, and probably you might find email addresses associated, new domains created, many different information. Gang infiltration into hacking forums. Obviously, you can keep tracking them if you are still in the hacking forum and they are discussing the new release of the tool. If you are there watching them, you can get that first-hand information. But that normally is done by FBI, so I'm going to talk about risk in the next course. Actually, in the course related to hunting. Okay, so we are here in the final step, which is taking down. We understood everything about the group. We even know that it is a APT group, X5, that we define that name. We are tracking them, and probably it's time to take it down. In order to take it down, we need to join effort with a law enforcement corporation. Can be Interpol, Europol, FBI, depends on the country, but it's not that easy. But it is what should be expected at the end of this whole effort. As I said, the goal is to dismantle organized crime operations. Take down these guys, even physically arrest them to stop operations, period. Okay? One of the really cool techniques is called sinkhole. We're going to talk about that in detail, but it's basically you're going to take over the C2 infrastructure in a different approaches so that everything, all the different hosts infected are going to point to you, not to the bad guys, and you redirect it to your place. Or you can even take over the whole server. There are different approaches that we're going to talk about, but at the end of the day, you are just stopping their operations. Okay? We can do man-in-the-middle attacks, which basically means I will forward all the traffic to my box and then forward it to the bad guys so that they think they are still operating, but at the same time we are monitoring every single action and updates. And we don't let victims to get reinfected. Hacking forums is very common to take them down. There are some examples like the dark code case that was in specific hacking forum, very famous, sending exploits. It was took down, but that's very common and don't be a law enforcement. These takedowns requires countrywide collaboration sometimes. Let's say that there is an IP detected being attacked from China. It's not easy to just ask China, hey guys, could you please go to the ISP or hosting provider and take them down, please? It's not going to happen. Same from Russia. So sometimes it's not possible to do that. Okay. So finally, let's talk about the summary. So we talk about all the different phases of the threat intelligence effort so that you can understand the big picture of these really awesome skills. We talk about the final goal, which is to track down the threat actors behind and stop them, which is the final goal. And we said that this whole effort requires country collaboration. Finally, the physical arrest. At the end of the day, you can take down the IP, okay? But if you take down the IP, probably the operations of that specific server is going to be completed. But the bad guys can create another server with a different IP, get more malware, and start spreading it, start infecting victims. Physical arrest via law enforcement or different international police, they can help us to stop and go and physically put the guys into jail. Okay, that's all. Hope you enjoyed.